UN, you have a problem with that? You know what you should do? You should sanction me. Sanction me with your army. Oh, wait a minute. You don't have an army. I guess that means you need to shut the up. That's what I do if I didn't have no army. I would shut the up. That's right. Okay, now I think I'm gonna take orders from an African. You might speak.
Yo, what's up and welcome to Common Sense. So South Africa has decided they want to play with the big boys. So South Africa has taken America, and other countries as well, has taken America to the UN Security Council. Now, this might sound serious and big, and it is. But of course we know that America doesn't need the UN's approval. I've just said it, they don't. But South Africa had to have their say. Now, before we get to hear what South Africa had to say, make sure you hit the subscribe button as well as the notification so that you're always up to date with what's happening here on Common Sense. Now, let's have a listen to what South Africa had to say.
Mr. President, the unilateral military strikes carried out by the United States of America against Venezuela and the abduction of President Nicolas Maduro and his spouse from Venezuelan territory for transfer to the United States wantonly violates the sovereignty and territorial integrity and independence of Venezuela.
Okay, so I'm going to let him finish speak, but there's a few things I need to address. He was not the president of Venezuela. He stole an election. He put the political party that's against him, he have put them into prison. So he is not the president. And Marco Rubio will tell you why they went after Maduro.
These actions are also in stark contrast to our established legal norms, reinforcing the belief that might is right and undermining diplomacy. History has repeatedly demonstrated that military invasions against sovereign states yield only instability and deepen crises. Unlawful unilateral force of this nature undermines the stability of the international order and the principle of equality among nations. Such use of force also undermines the institutional infrastructure established to regulate relations among nations. We have seen examples of these in Libya, Iraq, and countless cases in Africa where foreign interventions and interference create security crises and undermine national governance institutions cultivated through nuanced and complex national contexts. South Africa stresses that allegations of internal governance challenges, human rights concerns, or acts of criminality.
Okay, I did say that I would have let him speak, but it's shocking to see it comes from South Africa itself about human rights. Human rights. You just had a few months ago the president of South Africa talking about one of the most critical issues in this country, gender-based violence, and all he did was speak about it. That's all. Have done absolutely nothing about it. South Africa's hypocrisy at this UN Security Council is shocking. They're a country that wants to point a finger at others, but yet they don't see the rest of that hand pointing back at them.
By a head of state cannot justify a breach of the Charter's prohibition on the use of force, particularly Article 2.4 of the Charter. The peaceful resolution of disputes and internal matters must proceed in accordance with international law and through multilateral mechanisms. Additionally, under international law, a state has exclusive jurisdiction over persons and conduct within its own territory. Any enforcement of domestic law, including arrest by one state within the territory of another state without the state's consent, is an unlawful violation of sovereignty. There are recourse mechanisms at the disposal of states to implement international law. This includes taking action by bringing a case before the International Court of Justice or seeking action from the Security Council.
Seeking justice from the Security Council. The president of the Security Council is a Somalian president. Yeah, he took over in January. That just says to me a lot about the UN. A whole group of full-grown men cry about a dictator that was captured because of the relations to drug cartel and the mere fact of smuggling guns into America. Their concern is about Trump and not celebrating the mere fact that they have captured a dictator. This is what South Africa is doing. South Africa is not standing with the South African people. South Africa is not standing on the basis and principles that they need to take care of South Africa first. No, South Africa cares more about dictators than about his own people. They care more about whatever Trump is doing than about the South African people. It is shocking and a disgrace and embarrassment on the world stage to see South Africa trying to show that they all Mr. Big Stuff, but actually they're nothing on the world stage. Absolutely nothing. The South African government is weak and miserable. And they keep on showing their hand that they would rather side with dictators than with a winning nation like America. But let me show you the response from Marco Rubio and his response to the UN.
You're wrong in your question. Number one, Venezuela is a major source. And the reason why is the following. And I've seen a lot of this reporting, and it's fake reporting, and I'll tell you why. It says that somehow Venezuela is not involved in the drug trade because the UN says they're not involved in the drug. I don't care what the UN says. The UN doesn't know what they're talking about. Maduro is indicted by a grand jury in the Southern District of New York. That means the Southern District of New York presented the evidence to a grand jury, and a grand jury indicted him. And then a superseding indictment came out that was unsealed about a year and a half ago that specifically detailed Maduro's actions. So number one, let there be no doubt, Nicolas Maduro is an indicted drug trafficker in the United States, and he's a fugitive of American justice.
And that's Secretary Marco Rubio's response to the UN. But South Africa, I'm going to keep this sweet and short. The South African government does not care about the South African people because they will waste money on things like this. What has Venezuela got to do with South Africa? I am glad the Venezuelan people are free. They are free from a dictator. I'm glad. I celebrate with them. I cheer with them because it's about time someone does something for the Venezuelan people. You know what is so strange? This UN is the same UN that was sitting by while a dictator was torturing their own people. While their own people were treated like dogs. When the Chinese and Iran and the Russians came in there, exploited that country, they sat quietly and did absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. Only because it's Trump that came in and said FAFO. Now all of a sudden these bunch of grown men acting like babies are crying about their dictator friend being captured. And they're using the UN as a cover up. I am sick and tired of this government. They are a bunch of spineless, weak men that do not stand on the right things, that do not stand for the good, that do not stand for the South African people, but yet they will run and run fast for their dictatorship friendships. So South Africa, excuse me if I'm passionate about it, but it's about time someone says it like it is. Make sure you put your comments down below in the comment section, as well as South Africa, thank you for your love and your support. We will be winning this country back one video at a time, one fact at a time, and one truth at a time. This is Common Sense. I'm Andre Faro. God bless.